Okay, this is Chapter 4, The Illusions of the Ego, Section 4, This Need Not Be. If you cannot hear the voice for God, it is because you do not choose to listen. That you do listen to the voice of your ego is demonstrated by your attitudes, your feelings, and your behavior. Yet this is what you want. This is what you are fighting to keep, and what you are vigilant to save. It's important for me to remember that. If I feel irritation today, I am vigilant to save my identity as ego. And in that realization, then I can go in and I can give that to Spirit. Hey, I noticed I'm vigilant to save my identity as ego. Can you help me with this? I'm believing ego's valuable. I give you this belief. Give me a replacement. And a replacement will be given. Your mind is filled with schemes to save the face of your ego, and you do not seek the face of Christ. The glass in which the ego seeks to see its face is dark indeed. How can it maintain the trick of its existence except with mirrors? But where you look to find yourself is up to you. And I'm going to back up. How can ego maintain the trick of its existence except with mirrors? How can ego maintain the trick of its existence except with mirrors? That's what ego uses. So when I think I see something out there that causes me disquiet, it's ego flashing a mirror, using a trick, the trick of the existence of separate things. That's ego's trick. I have said that you cannot change your mind by changing your behavior, but I have also said, and many times, that you can change your mind. So let me remember this today. I can change my mind. And I cannot change my mind by changing my behavior. So let me remember this with my children. That's really good, because we can think their behavior is causing a state of unrest. I can think that in me. I can think that of you. I can think that of anybody on the world stage. But in my case, living with children, it's a wonderful ground for turning to Spirit and asking for help in seeing correctly, while not attempting to control another person's behavior, while not attempting to control my behavior. And this goes right down to not controlling my behavior, not ruling and organizing the day, and giving all of that to Spirit. So that opportunity is always here. When your mood tells you that you have chosen wrongly, and this is so whenever you are not joyous, then know this need not be. So my mood is very helpful, because it will tell me unfailingly every time I have chosen wrongly. Every single time. That is why feeling is important. Not so I have grounds to accuse you or to blame my separate self, neither of which exists separately. Not for grounds for that. My mood is important because it tells me when I have chosen wrongly. And this need not be. When I have chosen wrongly, I can go in and I can ask for perception correction. In every case, you have thought wrongly about some brother God created and are perceiving images your ego makes in a darkened glass. Just think of that. What am I looking at? Images my ego is making in a darkened glass. This goes for everybody. I can't believe anything unholy is true about anybody separately, because I'm only seeing images that my ego has made. I'm looking in a darkened glass. That's all that's happening. Think honestly what you have thought that God would not have thought, and what you have not thought that God would have you think, that God would have you think. So reading the Course can help us remember what types of things would God have us think. God would have us remember our shared innocence. That's the reality. We can ask to see that. Could I see our shared innocence? God would have us remember our equal power our benign power. Could you show me our shared and equal benign power? I'd rather see this. God can show us the joy without opposite that all of us are. Can you show me our joy without opposite? Rather than controlling or manipulating this situation or trying to get or avoid, I want to see things as they are. That prayer becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay, search sincerely for what you have done and left undone accordingly, and then change your mind to think with God's. This may seem hard to do, but it is much easier than trying to think against it. And a shorthand for this is the lesson of the day for me. Love created me like itself. If it's too hard to try to go into the specific and think what God would have me think, I can start with a lesson of the day. Love created me like itself. And if I'm thinking of another, if I'm thinking of Vladimir Putin, okay, I can also say, love created you like itself. I am what you are. That is the truth of us. I would like to see things as they truly are, instead of what my ego told me I wanted them to be. I want to see things as they truly are. I want to see you as you truly are. Okay. I think I hit the back page. I'm reading on a Kindle, so I'm finding my place again. Your mind is one with God's. I could stop there forever. Your mind is one with God's. My mind is one with God's. Denying this and thinking otherwise has held your ego together, but has literally split your mind. So there's no need to hold an ego together. The ego I think is me. The ego I think is Vladimir Putin. The ego I think is anybody else. The ego I think is you. I don't have to hold those egos together. That is not my job. As a loving brother, I am deeply concerned with your mind, this is Jesus, and urge you to follow my example as you look at yourself and at your brother and see in both the glorious creations of a glorious Father. So if we see somebody we're calling victim, how do we serve them? See the glorious creation of a glorious Father. And to understand, I have asked to see victims in my world because I have asked to see separation. I made this up. Could you show me? Could I see the glorious creations of a glorious Father? I'm able to see this in everyone, the glorious creation of a glorious and loving parent. When you are sad, know this need not be. Depression comes from a sense of being deprived of something you want and do not have. Remember that you are deprived of nothing except by your own decisions, and then decide otherwise. When you are anxious, realize that anxiety comes from the capriciousness of the ego, and know this need not be. Ego is capricious, it's back and forth movement, it's instability, it's here, then it's there. And that is when I'm identifying as ego, anxiety is my indicator. Or depression is my indicator too. I'm deciding to pretend to be separate when I cannot be, never have been, and never can be separate. And this is impossible. So any feeling like this indicates I am attached to identifying as ego, and I can ask for help. That's the most powerful thing I can do. You can be as vigilant against the ego's dictates as for them. That's the only switch that occurs. The vigilance is there no matter what. I'm either protecting my separate self, and the idea of your separate self is better or worse than I am, is especially loved or especially hated, both distortions of what you are, or I'm vigilant for spirit and spirit's thoughts and what spirit would show me. In either case, I'm vigilant I can't escape it. Okay, I just am this way in this experience. But I do get to choose. Am I vigilant for hate or vigilant for love? I do get to choose that. That's my one choice. When you feel guilty, remember that the ego has indeed violated the laws of God, but you have not. And it's a good time to remember ego is imaginary. So I have fantasized about violating the laws of God. But since violating the laws of God is not possible, then it didn't really happen. So if I'm looking at a war, I fantasized about violating the laws of God, and this is the form it took. It's my fantasy, it's my dream, I made it up. But I never did. I can't, it's not possible to violate the laws of oneness, of our creation, of our Creator, of love. It is not possible to violate those laws. It is only possible to fall asleep and dream about it, or it's possible to fantasize about it. That is it. That is it. And if I see it around me, it's because I wanted it, and it's okay to admit that, because that's the way out. Leave the sins of the ego to me. That is what atonement is for. But until you change your mind about those whom your ego has hurt, the atonement cannot release you. While you feel guilty, your ego is in command, because only the ego can experience guilt. This need not be. So when I feel guilty, I am identifying as that which I am not. I never have been, and I never can be it. When I feel guilty, I'm identifying as ego. I'm not ego. I'm spirit. I'm undifferentiated from you. I am one. I'm whole. I'm complete. And when I feel guilty, I'm identifying as that which I can never be. Watch your mind for the temptations of the ego and do not be deceived by it. It offers you nothing. When you have given up this voluntary dispiriting, you will see how your mind can focus and rise above fatigue and heal. Yet you are not sufficiently vigilant against the demands of the ego to disengage yourself. This need not be. Well, as we recognize what we're doing and the cause and effect of our experiences and how our experiences are caused by thought, as we recognize the value of feeling, our focus and our ability to be vigilant on behalf of our true self against the demands of the ego, it increases, it grows. We're more aware. We stop more often. We ask for help more often. It gets easier and easier and easier. Okay. Let's see. The habit of engaging with God and His creations is easily made if you actively refuse to let your mind slip away. The problem is not one of concentration. It is the belief that no one, including yourself, is worth consistent effort. So I do slip away. I do slip away. And so what can I go in and ask for help with? Well, if I slip away, I believe that no one, including myself, is worth consistent effort. And I feel ready to face this now. Before, I wasn't ready to face this. I believe that no one, including myself, is worth consistent effort. I can go into Spirit and say, Spirit, I believe this. Can you help me? Can you correct my perception? I am willing to see this differently. Side with me consistently against this deception, and do not permit this shabby belief to pull you back. The disheartened are useless to themselves and me, but only the ego can be disheartened. So if I am disheartened, I'm identifying as that which I can't ever be. That's never going to work. Futile, impossible. So I might as well stop and ask for help. Have you really considered how many opportunities you have had to gladden yourself, and how many of them you have refused? Yes, I have. I'm seeing this now. There is no limit to the power of a son of God, but He can limit the expression of His power as much as He chooses. There's no limit to our power. Here's one thing we can do. we can limit the expression of our power. And we can limit that as much as we choose to do. And to the extent I'm identified with and as that which I can never be, fear, ego, I'm going to choose to limit that power. Your mind and mine can unite in shining your ego away. That's just beautiful. My mind with the mind of Jesus, or the mind of whatever non-physical friend steps forward to assist you, can unite in shining your ego away. Releasing the strength of God into everything you think and do. How beautiful is that? The strength of God released into everything you think and everything you do. Do not settle for anything less than this, and refuse to accept anything but this as your goal. Watch your mind carefully for any beliefs that hinder its accomplishment, and step away from them. This is not hard work if we just think, I don't want to suffer anymore. And so I'm willing to notice what I feel. I don't want to suffer anymore. I'm willing to notice how I'm feeling. When I'm feeling not good, I pledge and I commit to going in and asking Spirit to help me see things differently. Help me see this, whatever I'm looking at, differently. That works because we have a self-interest. I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to suffer anymore. I don't want to struggle. We can just go in every single time and ask. Okay. Judge how well you have done this by your own feelings, for this is the one right use of judgment. And don't judge yourself if you temporarily go into feeling completely awful, because this can happen. This has happened on my journey. I will go into a layer, realize how awful my commitment to ego feels. Oh my gosh, does it feel awful? And so I'll let that layer go, right? This whole layer of belief is gone. And I am just so happy. Then it's time for me to realize subtly, how I believe in all these other little things, and how I am still identified as ego and seeing you as a separate ego. And then it's ready to it's time to look at that, to let those go too. I used to think it was my safety and my sense of control, but it's time to look at those too. So just be gentle with yourself. Then you're at the next layer. Then you feel 100% completely awful, because it's a good thing, because you're finally allowing yourself to see how those beliefs feel. Those beliefs in the separation, oh, they feel absolutely terrible. But rejoice, because you've never let yourself know how terrible that feels to believe those things. Then you let those go, because you know they're not your friend. You know they're not your friend. Then guess what? There's another layer. But it does get deeper and deeper and easier. And so just be gentle with yourself. Don't judge yourself for feeling terrible. Rejoice, because you have just allowed yourself to finally understand that believing whatever you believe right now doesn't serve you. And in asking the simple question, could you please, Spirit, help me see this differently? I am willing to see this differently now. I know this belief doesn't help me. It doesn't protect me. It doesn't control anything real. I am willing to let you give me other beliefs and other thoughts and flow in to replace this. That's a beautiful moment. So the terrible feeling can always lead to a beautiful moment. So don't beat up on yourself for feeling terrible. I say this because I use the Course to think it's bad if I'm feeling bad. And there's a much gentler way through this. It's a celebration to discover that you're believing a false thought, and you can always go in to ask for help. So celebrate that. Okay. Judgment, like any other defense, can be used to attack or protect, to hurt or to heal. The ego should be brought to judgment and found wanting there. Without your own allegiance, protection, and love, the ego cannot exist. So I can remember that when I feel bad, physically or emotionally. I am giving my allegiance to ego in this moment. Just be honest. Just be honest. Why do I feel insecure? I'm giving my allegiance to ego, which can never be secure. It can only go back and forth. It can only talk to you of like getting and avoiding. It's not peace. It can't ever be peace. So if I'm not feeling good, I've given my allegiance to ego, and that's okay, because Spirit is right here to walk me out of that. Let it be judged truly, and you must withdraw allegiance, protection, and love from it. You are a mirror of truth, in which God Himself shines in perfect light. You are a mirror of truth, in which God Himself shines in perfect light. I love to see you that way. Then I can see myself that way. A mirror is a mirror, right? I see me in you. You are a mirror of truth, in which God Himself shines in perfect light. That's why I don't need you coming to me or following me, or it's okay if it takes that form. But I'm just so happy to see you as you are, the relief of seeing myself as I am, the relief and the joy. To the ego's dark glass you need but say, I will not look there, because I know these images are not true. Then let the Holy One shine on you in peace, knowing that this and only this must be. His mind shone on you in your creation and brought your mind into being. His mind still shines on you and must shine through you. Your ego cannot prevent Him from shining on you, but it can prevent you from letting Him shine through you. So this is the one thing. I am preventing the light from shining through me. As a creation, the light was extended to me and the light shines through me. And that's what any not good feeling is. In this moment, I'm not allowing the light to shine through me. Spirit, can you show me the way? My function is allowing the light to shine through me. Spirit, can you show me the way? The first coming of Christ is merely another name for the creation. All right, so that already happened. For Christ is the Son of God. The second coming of Christ means nothing more than the end of ego's rule and the healing of the mind. I was created like you in the first, and I have called you to join with me in the second. I am in charge of the second coming, and my judgment, which is used only for protection, cannot be wrong because it never attacks. Yours may be so distorted that you believe I was mistaken in choosing you. I assure you this is a mistake of your ego. Do not mistake it for humility. Your ego is trying to convince you that it is real and I am not, because if I am real, I am no more real than you are. That knowledge, and I assure you that it is knowledge, means that Christ has come into your mind and healed it. So going back, I am real. I am no more real than you are. So ego can't be real. But Jesus is real. You are real. I am real. Every being we seem to see is real. Every being who seems to have died is real in one joined being. So if one of us is real, all of us are real, and no one is more real than another one in the oneness. We're simply real, and ego is unreal and can never be real. I do not attack your ego. I work with your higher mind, the home of the Holy Spirit, whether you are asleep or awake, just as your ego does with your lower mind, which is its home. I am your vigilance in this, because you are too confused to recognize your own hope. I am not mistaken. Your mind will elect to join with mine, and together we are invincible. You and your brother will yet come together in my name, and your sanity will be restored. I raised the dead by knowing that life is an eternal attribute of everything that the living God created. Why do you believe it is harder for me to inspire the dispirited or to stabilize the unstable? So what can Jesus do? Jesus can inspire the dispirited. Jesus can stabilize the unstable. I do not believe that there is an order of difficulty in miracles. You do. I have called, and you will answer. I understand that miracles are natural, because they are expressions of love. My calling you is as natural as your answer, and as inevitable. Inevitable is a very beautiful word. It makes a beautiful world. Inevitable. It's inevitable that we're going to give up our attachment to ego. And that is very comforting. Okay, thanks very much.